Hello, soon-to-be graduates. I am so honored to be here with you today and proud of everything that you have accomplished. Each of you were challenged by circumstances that we would have never imagined. But you persevered. A pandemic could not stop you, and here you are, soon-to-be graduates of Antioch University, Los Angeles. To all the family, friends, and guests who are here today, thank you for the support that you have provided that has been critical to your graduate success. For those of you who are graduating today without that kind of support, please know and remember that your success is a sign of strength and power as well as academic achievement. And of course, we are all thankful for the faculty and staff whose work in front of the classroom or the computer screen that helped you arrive at this moment. For the current and future leaders that we know you all are, we honor you, and for the families, friends, faculty, and staff that help you, please take a moment to say thank you and thank them for all that they have done to get you to this point. For decades, Antioch University has inspired thousands of young people to serve others and to make positive change in the world. You are so fortunate to be graduating at such an important moment in our history. Our nation is at a crossroads, and you, all of you, have the opportunity to help determine which direction our nation should go. Will we become a more inclusive society? Will our diversity be viewed as a strength, or will it be viewed as a threat? Will we expand our democracy by making it easier to vote, or will fear of the fact that in a few short years, the country will become like California, where people of color are the majority? Will fear of this reality lead to an all-out assault on the right to vote so people of color cannot win elections and voting becomes so difficult, hours and hours in line, that people become discouraged, and the new minority consolidates its power and rules for generations? After the 2020 election, over 30 states passed laws making voting more difficult, reducing the hours, making it illegal to give people in line water or food. For you, or for your generation, the question is, how will you respond? Will you pick up the baton and join the fight for the right to vote? I do have to say, I admit that it's sad that we are having a conversation about the right to vote in the 21st century when voting should be as easy as using an ATM machine. But you now have the ability to influence the direction of the country should you choose to get involved. Now, I'm hopeful that the education that you received at this progressive institution has fired you up and made you ready to get involved, or that your education here has encouraged you to stay involved, because I do know that many of you come to this institution as activists. We need you. The last 4 years has taught us some very tough lessons. It's taught us that you can win significant change, but if you don't stay involved, the change that we fight for, the change that we win, can actually be reversed. Voting rights, a woman's right to govern her body, health care, etc. When we have been successful in moving our nation forward toward becoming a more just society, it has been because of massive involvement from average citizens. But when we have won, I think we've assumed our victories will be permanent. But the tough lesson was, if we are not active citizens and consistently hold our government accountable, we shouldn't be surprised if an individual comes to power who does not have the entire nation's interest in mind. That one individual can actually damage our nation's institutions and damage our image around the world. So it's up to us to never let this happen. I also realize the struggle for social and economic justice never ends, because our victories can be taken away. So the battle for justice is ongoing. And so one of the most important responsibilities of my generation is to do everything we can to support, nurture, and pass the baton on to the next generation of leaders. There are many critical issues that await you, but I want to take a moment to describe one of the issues. Please help our nation develop the ability to constructively discuss race without the traditional guilt, and deepen our understanding beyond the individual behavior or beliefs of individuals. But dig deeper, go below the surface, examine and change our institutions, healthcare, education, housing, etc. We all watched an awakening take place in our country last year after we witnessed George Floyd being slowly murdered. For the first time in my life, the general public finally connected the murder of a black man at the hands of police with a structural problem in our country, a tragic reality African Americans and other people of color have faced for generations, but sadly was not believed or acknowledged until George Floyd's murder. Brutality or death at the hands of police was assumed to be deserved or dismissed as the result of bad behavior of an individual officer, not a systemic problem and not connected to race. So his death led to a new awakening about race, about our nation's history. And so now there is a struggle going on over whether we should tell the complete story of our nation's history or whether we should just tell the nice, comfortable stories. Should we just talk about George Washington's cherry tree? Or should we also include the fact that he owned 300 human beings? I believe our nation's history should include the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our history should include everyone's stories, not just the stories of one group. The fight over whether to tell the whole truth is taking place in communities around the nation. Our country is a great country because of our collective history and because we are on a never-ending journey to make our country stronger and to make sure the American dream can be shared and enjoyed by all. So we shouldn't be afraid to tell the entire truth. This is just one example of a challenge I hope some of you take on. Reforming our criminal justice system so we do not continue being the nation that incarcerates more people than any country on earth. Please join the movement to change this. The U.S. should be the world's leader in saving our planet from destructive climate change. And right here in our city, it is a tragedy that every night in Los Angeles County, more than 60,000 people are sleeping on the streets. So graduates, take your pick. So much to work on awaits you. Graduates, you have studied, worked, sacrificed. Now it is your turn to go out into the world and make a difference. Now it's your turn to dream. The truth is the nation needs you to dream, and we need you to dream big about how we will tackle the nation's greatest challenges. We need you to take on the health and economic disparities laid bare by the COVID-19 pandemic. We need you to go out and to protect voters from having their rights infringed upon around the country. We need you to push for reform so that people of color aren't killed or brutalized by police. We need you to make connections that strengthen our country's relationship with others, fostering a peaceful understanding across cultures, rather than irrational hatred for those who do not look like us or speak the language we speak. So our future is in your hands. The group of graduates on this call today, you control where we go from here. I know that might add a bit of pressure on you, but it's because we have confidence in you. Over the past 4 years, you were taught to reject passive participation in our society. You were taught that when you see someone who needs help, you lend a hand. When you log off this virtual ceremony, know that this is now your charge. Know that your community is counting on you. But I know that you will step up and meet the challenge. If you're not sure where to begin, identifying a problem in the community and set out to solve it. Just identify an issue. And now, if you live in a community where everything's just perfect, remember that so many other communities face challenges that need your expertise. There are an infinite number of ways you can become involved and take responsibility for our collective world. So hopefully now we all understand that it is our responsibility to vote in every election, but I do hope we've also learned that just voting is not enough. We must consistently be involved in neighborhood associations and our city, our state, and our federal governments. Now, we often complain about government, but all too often we don't think it's our responsibility to participate in government. So I challenge you to go out and become leaders in whatever profession you choose. In the professional organizations, make sure you join them and ensure that quality and ethics are upheld in your chosen field. So ask yourself these questions. What will be your purpose? What will be your mission? The future is wide open. 11 years ago, I addressed the class of 2010. Our world has changed in unimaginable ways since then, but the need for dreamers is the same. So dream big and don't allow anyone to put your ideas in a box. I always say, don't just think outside the box. Why don't you join me in flat out rejecting the idea that the box exists at all? There are no limits, no boundaries to what you can imagine and what you can achieve. The class of 2021, you are the first class to graduate in this country, having endured a full year of a global pandemic in more than 100 years. Class of 2021, this sets you apart. You have already endured incredible obstacles, and I know that nothing now will hold you back. Use what you've learned here to make the world a better place. So to the class of 2021, congratulations. Enjoy your day, take a short break, then go out and change the world. Thank you.